Testing, testing, testing. What is up, Mike Reese, Neil McKenzie? Channel member, can you hear me? I'm getting ready to try to tweak this thumbnail real quick. What's up, Acid Test Kids? Pocket Metal texted me. I wasn't paying attention to Instagram. I'm sitting there just kind of waiting for him to join because he always joins about 5 minutes early. And I get a text that they're still like an hour away when I set one up. He's going to jump in because he's got a key to the back door and he'll host from here when he gets here. But let me at least, and he was going to post it. Let me post it real quick on the community tab. I'm sorry, guys. I hope everybody's having a fantastic Monday. One little bit of news and self-promotion / admission of my boredom and nothing going on in life. I am going to start doing, I reached out to Scott today and I'm going to start doing a Tuesday night sit and spin. That's that toy I used to have when I was a kid that you just spin around on, but it's basically just going to be a knife chat from like 10:15 p.m. Tuesday night, just till whenever. People usually go to bed. You know, when people start going to bed, they'll go to bed. I'll stay and chat with you guys as long as you want to. But it'll come in, you know, after everybody else's, and it just seemed like something to try to do as long as I can do it until I get, you know, the full time. Mike Reese, good man. I'm glad you popped in, buddy. And again, I'm sorry for the confusion. I'm going to drop right here and say, howdy, kids. Let me do this. Let me do this. I wonder if there's any way I can download my thumbnail and write on it. I bet I can. Yeah, we had sit and spins. I've done them a couple of different Tuesdays. Just because it was I was bored. I'd been watching a couple of lives just lurking, and then I have kind of a weird schedule. I think I've told you guys. I record most of my videos. If you're members, you see them because they release to you guys right away, and you'll see a video pop up at 3 a.m., at 5 a.m. That's kind of when I do them. Yes, I can. Hold on.
Welcome to Metal Mayhem. Metal Mondays will be in play shortly.
Could y'all hear that? That would make Pocket Metal cringe. I hope he's not listening, but I can't scream. I never had the screaming voice. I was in a band, but it was a band. It was more like a hippie band, you know? So yeah, different deal. Different deal. But yes, guys, I was going to, show you something. Chris229, what is up, buddy? I did a review today on that air light that you sent for giveaway. It is at 389 views, which for me is huge. And that knife has blown me away. And I don't know if you were in the live Friday night, but I shipped it out Saturday. Someone won the SR1 light on your behalf and your generosity. And it was, if I didn't have my little handy dandy notebook, Mark Parks won it, but he DKSF'd it to Fook Doozle. So thank you, buddy. And I will be giving coming up Friday Night Flicks, the Airlight Tanto will be given away. I'm probably going to end up at some point because all the cold steels I'd ever really been exposed to and been really attracted to were the big heavy ones. Like my first was the 8010, then I got an 8015, then I got an American Lawman after watching Nick Shabazz talk about it. It was like his favorite knife, and I like it. I got a one of the brass ones. What are they called? The Cold Steel Code 4. but I gave it to Grateful Panic, and he was doing some mods on it and broke the spring. But and it wasn't one of my favorites. That's why I gave it away. But then I bought the Formax Elite that I let Satu regrind. But when I saw the SR1, for one, I sharpened it. So it's 8 CRV. So the blade steel's not that great, but it's an under $50 knife that is every bit as beefy as an 80/20. And I put just I think a 19.5-degree edge on it on my TS Prof, and it would slice paper. The edge held up well after I whittled wood with it. I think it's just a great value knife. I mean, super smooth. And then the Air Light's a little more expensive, but it's Austin, super thin. You can get it in a Tonto or a drop point. Let me show it to you. This is a knife that I had seen, but it always flew under my radar and never caught my attention. And that's kind of what I say in a lot of my videos. Just keep an open mind as you go through this little hike, however long it is for you. For me, it's been almost, God, over 3 years. But it is there are things that I've seen that I hadn't paid a lot of attention to, and this knife's $80, so it's a little more expensive. It's still what I would consider under $100 knife, full size knife. This is the drop point. This is not the one that I reviewed, but it's 3.2 ounces, 8.8 millimeters thick. If you watch my video, I do some comparisons. 3.5-inch blade. I want to say it's a triad lock. Just a sweet. Let's do the Tonto. Let me find it. Hold on, because I think it looks more sick. Because it's got, I don't know if you call that an American Tanto tip, but the Tanto tip makes it a very, very good piercer, and it doesn't take anything away from the cutting. But that's the knife that I reviewed today. That only reason I had the chance to experience and kind of fall in love with it, and it's not $99.99. That's Cold Steel Sight. So if we go back here, let's do this. Whoops, whoops. I was just getting ready to order some, what do you call it? Desiccants, the little things that you put in your knife case. Because I've noticed I've gotten a little bit of not really rust, but little deposits because it's been really, really humid here. So this is the Blade HQ listing, not my first choice, but 64.95, right? So it is a super thin, super easy to carry, almost full deep pocket clip, G10 handle. Um, Again, it blew me away, and thank you, Chris229, and one of you guys will win this coming up, because it's going to be a giveaway knife. It's just like usually when I get in a knife, he's also sent me another knife that I'm going to review because they're good content. They're knives that I've seen. The one that I'll be reviewing is a really nice folding version of the Corvid. This is the Corvid S. I forget which Corvid he sent me, but it's titanium, has a Damascus blade, and this is a great chopper. And speaking of great choppers, and then I'm going to talk to you guys. I got a knife today in the mail that I've been waiting for. It's different than a J-Cal. Can you see that? It's got a little Kydex sheath with a Ranger eye on it. And then it's got its retention right here. So it doesn't move at all, but check this little guy out. What's different about this than the normal J-Cal is it's got two little. Now, again, I asked for a super tiny knife because that's just kind of my jam. And he started doing some Grant 3D printed beads. But this little guy is a deep hollow. Well, I need to get a better camera. The plunge grind is absolutely matched perfectly. And it is a slicer. But it's a great little knife. The other thing he's done that I sent him a little message commenting on is these edges you can't see on mine, but they're chamfered just ever so slightly. And all this work he does by hand. He would absolutely, but it's made in America. It's made in California. I carry it appendix style. I put an ulti clip on it first, but it was a little thick. So I like to carry this one like like my chickadees. And it's an accessory carry. So today I'm carrying, well, she would hate this knife too. I'm doing a video that'll air tomorrow that are 10 favorite knives from the past. And one of them is the Ace Grand Invanitas, which is his favorite knife. But today I carried my Axon that I took the skiff washers out of and put in bearings. I'm going to tell y'all something funny or something interesting. So I talked to Steve Skiff because I order bearings from him all the time because I do a lot of bearing swap outs. And he shared with me an email about a gentleman who has like a hundred knife collection, and he's got some type of limiting disability where he can't he can't take apart and put together his knives, and he wants to upgrade them with bearings. And Steve reached out to me to see if I would consider doing it for him, and of course I would. Um, with the caveat that if the knife was a knife that I didn't feel comfortable dealing with, I wouldn't deal with it. And there'd be if something happens, you can watch all my videos of knives I've taken apart, shit happens. But anyways, you might see, because those videos get 30 views tops, but I think those are the type videos that down the road when somebody's doing something, they might, just when they're taking it apart, not when they're putting skiffs in it, but they might search it, find it, and watch it. And it's helpful content. I think it's that content that's not put out there to get a lot of views. It's put out there to help somebody who's trying to learn how to take a knife apart for the first or second time. Right. So, yeah, I might be putting a shitload. Which knife has been the best on skiff washers over bearings? Without a doubt, my Mac 2. This is still on thick washers. I've got my little baby banter because I tried it on a lot. I put it on the Buzz, my Devo Buzz, and it was fine. It wasn't as, for some reason, the McNeese, when you open this up, it's got channels for the bearings that fit the thick washers perfectly. So when you put them through the cheat sheet, which is that little aluminum gauge, the washers pass through with zero tolerance. That's one thing about washers. They're perfectly dimensioned, right? The ones that Steve makes at least. But number one for me so far, and I've only put them in about 5 knives, but the McNeese will stay with the washers in it. I won't put the bearings back in it. But I took the ones from the Buzz, put the bearings back in the Buzz, and put them in my Axon. And to be honest with you, it makes all the knives. Let me get my little Civivi baby banter because this is just the opposite, but it's the same deal. So this little guy, all of them, they open fine. They don't drop shut anymore, right? But the advantage of that is you have absolutely no blade play. And what I do is I have some Adjustins OCD for EDC Slick 'em all. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that, but that is my number one recommended washer or any knife lubricant. I don't put it on bearings. I put oils on bearings because I'm an idiot when you don't really need to put anything on them. But so this is running on the Skiff thick washer. So what I would suggest is look at a knife that you've maybe put bearings in, and I'd go for one that's more common, right? That's why let me tell you the size that these were, because the size that goes in the Buzz also fits about 7 other knives. And it would be a good size to get because you could try it in different knives. And they are the McNeese, if you're wondering, runs on 3/16 pivot and 0.625. And then my Hinders, which, they're tri-way, so they come with washers anyway, but the washers that they ship with are steel. So I've got these to put in one of my hinderers, but I like them on bearings. Um, where is my pack? It's got all the I've got a little pack that had a size that had all the I'll find it and post it. Somebody DM me and I'll hook you up with the right ones. What's up, Splitting Slices? Good to see you, buddy. But yeah, I'm a big fan in washers. I used to not have any desire because I don't work around dirt and stuff, and I was always a drop shut guy. Well, I've cut my thumb enough times, and the Pulsar and the Evo are guilty of doing it a lot. That drop shut's nice, but I've come to appreciate a control drop a lot more than just drop shut, right? But washers, to me, make the knife feel and sound like an entirely different knife. And even though this knife will shake shut, there's a big, to me, tactical, nice thing about being able just to kind of shut it, just to kind of unlock it and push it down because it's so smooth. Again, there's no variance there. I want to show you guys something that I unboxed, and I want to compare it to something for you. This is the Devo Nip Light. I don't know if any of y'all like the nip, but it was too much or you didn't really want it for a small knife, $199 in S90V. This is the aluminum 14C version that's going to be available through Devo. There are going to be about 7 variations of these, or 6. One's going to be an exclusive through TPK, one's going to be an exclusive through White Mountain, one's a Blade Binge exclusive, and I think 4 are Devo. But I like this knife so much that I bought with my money 4 of them. I bought the White Mountain Knives exclusive. Then I bought a hardware kit from Devo. Then I bought the black one that had like a blue ring from Austin at Traditional Pocket Knives and put my hardware kit on it. And then I bought the purple Nurple. I did not buy the other one that was carbon fiber. But when I look at these 2 knives, the first version that was $199 weighs a little more. But the only difference that I can tell, and I should get the carbon fiber one because it's got the belt satin blade, but the only difference is the pocket clip. These knives operate identically. The back spacer, the floating back spacer, is done identically. Just the materials are not as expensive. So I think this drops on the 15th. And I don't know if anybody's looking or curious how good the little nip light is, but they're my 2. This is my second favorite Devo knife, and this is my first favorite just because they're different. I think of this kind of as my mini Jaeger because it's kind of just like it's a great pairing with my Jaeger as a 5th pocket knife. And I think the Lush is just so unique. And for my hand, it's so perfect for a not hard use, geeky city guy who cuts open packages and cuts paracord from time to time and cuts into bags of cat food. So I would say if you didn't get the nip for whatever reason, and $99 plus if you get it at White Mountain or at Devo, you can use Javon 10, save 10%. You can save pretty much at any of the places, even Blade Binge. I just don't know what my code is. And I was going to ask you guys, I don't at all want to ever shill my affiliate links, but I do have them all. And I notice a lot of pages, and I think I've got them linked from the old days, but they're not updated regularly on my description page. But after watching Lefty, I use Linktree, and I don't know if that's convenient for you guys. All that is it's one page that has all my links, and I'm able to link my discount code in the description. So I would think as a user, it'd be easier. And the reason there's an option there, I have almost all of them, Kyle. There are several I've turned down. There's several knives, and I won't name them, but there's several knives I don't want to really have on the channel right now. I don't think they benefit anybody, um, except the sellers. But if the reason there's a subscribe button there is because I do get new links every couple of weeks, or they change. You know, I might take a link off there if something happens, but it just notifies whoever follows my link tree. I just don't know if people think that's an extra step. They'd rather have that all in the description. Always try to have the description more about whatever the video's about. But yeah, links are, I understand it helps the retailers. The deal for me is, and the one that I wrestled with the most was the biggest or the second biggest or the first biggest or the third. I don't know how they all rate out, but one of the big knife makers. And I went back and thought, and they've always made everything right for me. So there was a situation where I had a knife that got lost. It did not come. They made me wait 2 weeks, which I understand, but on the 14th day, they shipped me another knife. Lo and behold, on the 15th day, the first knife showed up. So I reached out to them. They said, "Don't worry about it. We'll send you a label and you can send it back whenever you want to." You know? So when I think of someone who I'm gonna associate my credibility with, it's River's Edge Cutlery, it's DLT Trading, it's Polish Custom Knives. It is Blade HQ, which is the one I was just talking about, which has always made things right for me. Although I've had some instances where I think they're big, right? So they're better choices there, in my opinion. And GP Knives, and like I say, jokingly and seriously, if anybody wants to like have a private um, WebEx, even if it's a bunch of us, not WebEx, but a StreamYard that I set up, I will take you through my individual, before I had a channel and during the channel, accounts through all those retailers, and you'll see that that's where I bought my entire collection. From literally those 3 or 4, a few from Knife Works, but I don't have them recommended for different reasons, and they're fine. And that's the only place I would recommend them for. Doug Ritter RSK1, because they're an exclusive. But I just think there are a few really good choices out there that carry almost everything we want. And then, of course, you've got NC Blade and things like that that I don't feel like I'm necessarily, my channel doesn't necessarily align with a lot of that stuff yet. I don't know enough about it. But we have got Snow Trog in here. We've got my brother Paul Mills, channel member. Good to see you, bud. We've got Mimo in here. What's up, Michael Morgan? Channel member, my friend, my young man and brother, Palmer. What is going on, Palmer? How's life treating you? Are you about to go to college, or are you about to finish high school? Are you going into your senior year, or are you going into one of your years in college? I can't remember when I was your age, because I was young for my grade. I actually missed the grandfather clause. Y'all are too young to know what that is. But when I was 18, the drinking age was 19. Well, the government changed it to 21, but they grandfathered kids in. So my birthday was 4 weeks after the grandfather. So I went to high school with 80% of my friends being able to legally buy alcohol and me having to wait 2 years. Now I had an ID, but still, it was one of those things that just pissed me off. Brother Kyle Coonley, what is up? Kyle Coonley is the most awesome guy, and I'm gonna kiss his ass so much more in case I did fuck up my buddy's FSD, which I didn't, but I know it can be sharper. And what happened with me is I got nervous. I don't want to, I figured I could just kind of match it up, and I didn't. I underdid it, right? So it could have gone. And when you said leave it gritty, I use Veneve Scorpions. So I use the I want to say the 80, and then the two after that. I didn't use any of the smoother stones, which I probably should have, but like I told him, and he knows who you are, even though he never goes to lives. We talk about you quite a bit, in positive and negative. Jim, Tegler Fiera, what is up, my buddy? Good to see you, buddy, and channel member. And this is Pocket Metals Live. He's gonna be here shortly. I think they've been out foraging for their animals. If you think I've got it crazy with Yellow Cat and my possums that come around, they've got deer, they've got raccoons, they've got possums, they've got Sasquatches, they've got the whole gamut. Mountain lions, I bet, because they're out there. If you look at where Pocket Metal lives on Google Earth, it looks like one of the most majestic areas where you could drive for 10 minutes and watch killer whales or drive the other way and be in the mountains. My kind of gig. Good to see you again, Chris229, the man, the myth, the legend. Let me get my a more professional cold radio voice. Rochambeau all day long. I really enjoy Rochambeau. I think he digs deep. I mean, there are a lot of content creators that I respect because they do different stuff, and I'm very lazy, not because I'm lazy, because in business and everything else, I'm not lazy. But when it comes to writer's block or creativity, I think the word is I'm not as creative as a lot of these guys. And when I look at Rochambeau getting involved in, and he doesn't do it for drama, but seeing things that other creators are putting out, like the CBX, this HRC testing guy, and then doing his own research to see if the machine was capable of the results that he was publicizing to the community, right? And first thing Roll did was reached out to the guy. And the guy said, dude, I don't do it because it's accurate. I do it for entertainment. And they went back and forth and didn't have and Rochambeau made a video and then realized that it could possibly damage the guy's channel or be thought of as not positive. So he took it down, which I think, great job for doing the work. Plus, from that work, he had a couple of companies. I forget which one of the knife companies reached out to him, and they might provide him with a real HRC tester. So when people in the community that have any kind of influence are able to do things like that, I think it helps everybody. Kind of like Jared. I give Jared full cred for the situation that I found unacceptable when I was a dyed in the blue Blade HQ supporter. But when Jared did the review on the Black Mirror from Max Ace and said it was probably the best value knife he'd ever seen, I went to buy one about 2 hours afterwards at Blade HQ because he was telling him that's where his came from. And it was $142. I've got it right back there. It's going to be in the video tomorrow. It's one of the older knives that I still think is as excellent as you can get. But I went to Blade HQ and it was $188. But I'd seen it the day before for 142. So I thought, So I went to Max Ace's site, $142. So I ordered it from Max Ace. It took 2 weeks to get here, but it was $142. Meanwhile, Chicago Knife Works had the same titanium knife for like 136. So Blade HQ was, which I'm sure it's a business decision, but was basically pumping the price a little bit because of Jared's positive, seen by a lot of people, his not only views, but his opinion of the knife. And Jared, being the dude that he is, reached out to them and said, this is unacceptable. It's been brought to my attention because we talked about it. And I said, dude, no, it's just not, it's too ironic for it to have happened within 3 hours of your video. Because I went to buy it and then go to Max Ace. He goes, no, it shouldn't have gone up. And they took it back down. I don't know if they ever made a statement or if they deserve or we deserve a statement. But after that, and the fact that when I ordered knives back when I was buying a lot of knives, it was more of a dopamine thing. So I'd order it and I'd wait for my shipping number. And without doubt, Blade HQ was always 2 days, before it would move. And heaven forbid you had to change something or you messed something up when you ordered it. And you had to reach out to them because they'd be like, no, cancel your order. We'll charge your card and just order what you want. Well, what I want, is that's kind of a pain in the ass way to do it. But they're a big company and I get it. And I put them as an affiliate link. Dean Griffin, what is up, buddy? Because I believe in them. Because when I've had an issue, which I rarely, Major Powell, a new member, I've got to find a sound. I'll use my Mexican celebration, or not Mexican, my Spanish celebration music. Thank you, Major. I am going to be having a members giveaway. We did one this past weekend, but we're going to do one this weekend too. I've got something in mind, so I'll make a video middle of the week. And if you guys are just getting here, I'm doing reached out and talked to Scott today at a knife schedule. I'm going to make that Tuesday Insomniac sit and spin until I get a full-time job. I'm right now freelance. And so I don't know if at my age, I'm going to go back into the corporate world, but I'm going to do the 10-15 till people get tired on Tuesday nights, just because there's nothing really going on then after Tri-State, just so y'all know. But Major Powell, welcome. Thank you. I hope you'll get early releases. I put up some wallpapers, not that anybody wants them. And I know that the full size ones are not even wallpapers when you click to download them. So reach out to me if you want a wallpaper of any kind for your phone. Tell me what type phone you've got. I'll send it to you. You can do it via email, via Instagram. It's just when I put them up, I thought they were going to save like they were, but YouTube chops them down. Kevin Smith and Nas, what is going on? Space Ghost, what's going on? And Brother B Shady, who has some of the coolest carries each day. I check his out for some reason, I guess, because I always engage with him. He's in my feed in Instagram every day. And that's what's weird about Instagram. Like Facebook, they're very much in charge of the people that you see versus the people that you don't. And I don't know why that is. They'll poll me from time to time. I'll get this little thing under one of the posts. Is this post good for you? What you like to see? And it never comes really with the knife that I'm that enthralled with. Like it would never be, is this a good match? It'd be under some random thing like this is Aries t-shirt, but it'd be under something like this. Maybe they put them under ads. That's different. An artisan cutlery. What is that? I'll go ahead and tell you, I'm not a big artisan cutlery fan. Probably because I've had 4. Knife modders are still knocking it out. And dude, sea otters rule. I don't know what any of y'all say, but if there was a little animal and I lived by some cold water that I could hang out with, I think sea otters would kind of be it. If it was me, I would have a house full of them little sumbitches. But thank you again, Major Powell. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you get some good value, and I really, really hope you you win some of the giveaways. I always tell people if you stick around long enough, as long as I've got knives in my collection, and I've still got quite a few, I'm going to pass them on to you guys. Some background music. Stonehands, I've been lucky with Amazon, but I'm getting ready to order, like I said, some desiccants. I have a feeling there's very possible that they'll screw it up. Kyle, I wouldn't go 100, and I would never go more than I would think, because I've never gone out. First of all, when I was a kid, we didn't have pets, right? We were kind of like not a pet-free home, but we just didn't have pets. So when I went to college, the first pet I got was a toy poodle, and had a fiance at a time that, thank God, we didn't get married. She's a good girl. We're still friends. But I started getting poodles. Even with my ex-wife, we had a little poodle, and we didn't shave them like poodles, so they didn't look frou-frou. They just kind of looked like little mini Norwegian quiche hounds because we'd let them get kind of shaggy. This was back in my hippie stage. But I forget the first cat. I think it's after my daughter was born, Brittany. She just turned 24 yesterday. But when she was a little, about 2 or 3, she was like, "I'd love a cat, Dad. You know, I really want a cat, whatever." And we were living at the time at a house where they were doing construction, moving for some reason, because they were doing a throughway by this area, and they moved these 2 houses about 100 feet one way. The other one moved about 200 feet. And this little gray cat showed up. And I guess it had been living off the construction people's food. And it was a little gray cat. And my ex-wife and Brittany were like, "Oh," and we went out and fed it. And then it disappeared. We didn't see it again for like, thank you, Kyle. We didn't see it for like 2 months. And then about 2 months later, the houses were done. And this gray cat shows up in the same place. And now it's a teenager. And it ended up being Tinkerbell. It was our first cat. Pocket Metal, come in, brother. This is your live. I'm just doing a temporary hold the fort down. But so we had our first cat, and Tinkerbell would let Brittany put her in a stroller with stuffed animals. Brittany would carry her around. She was the most gentle cat. And when we had her, another cat chose us. I don't know why. So I don't think I'd ever have more than 2 or 3 cats, but if they show up and they don't have anywhere to go, I kind of dig them. I'm scared to go to somewhere like one of those pet in the wall places where they've got a ton of them, because there are a lot of them that need homes. I get that. But there are enough of them, I think, that are just walking around. Still in Portland, food for you guys or food for the furries? I was telling everybody before you jumped in here that my possum and my stray yellow cat that comes around with a pink collar, so it's not stray, is nothing compared to the food that you guys have to stock up for the wildlife that you keep alive. I did another unboxing today that is gonna go out tomorrow. I don't know if y'all saw the other night at Friday Night Flicks when I was playing with my QSP hedgehog and the back spring snapped. I've never taken it apart or anything. And I talked to Traditional Pocket Knives, and they were like, I forget how many of these he sold, a ton. And he's still got some in stock if y'all are looking for a killer slip joint. But he's never had one snap, because I offered to send it back in case he wanted to see what that weakness was in that spring, because you can look at it. I'm no metallurgist, but you can see some little pits in there. So anyway, that broke. I reached out to him just to let him know. And he said, "Well, just grab another one. Tell me which one it is." And this was the purple, but it was sold out, which I don't really mind because I think I can take the panels off if I want to. But the one I wanted, as weird as it is, was that pink one. I don't know if you can see it because of my blue and green and yellow lights, because it's the same color as my Feel Good. But as far as slip joints go, and I was very enthralled with them, and I shouldn't say slip joint, especially with Pocket Metal. My modern non-locking folders that I've started getting into, this is my favorite. And I think this one from Traditional Pocket Knives, if you like a little thinner knife, the titanium one, which is the same price, I think they're sold out of that one though, is cool. But the carbon fiber with the contoured handles, I think is just great. And the Hedgehog, super deep hollow grind. Really nice walk and talk. And again, when I did the unboxing, it's just a testament to customer service. I mean, Austin didn't ask any questions about it. He was like, because I sent him pictures, sent him a little clip from the live where it happened, because all I did was took it out of the slip. It was right after I did my comparison between this and that other Chinese knife. Put it back up because it lives in this Northwood slip. When I took it out, the spring just fell. And I can't imagine what, caused it. But needless to say, he made it right. And that came in today, and I was stoked because I like that color. It doesn't really show up good, like I said. But they're back up, I think, to 145. They got way down there. He had a sale a couple of weeks ago. And maybe that'll come up again. If I see him put those on sale, I will share it. Let's take a peek over at Traditional Pocket Knives. That's somewhere I like to check stuff out from. I'll look at his exclusives because I don't know enough about the other stuff. But I did try out a couple of his exclusive penguins. And the one that I fell in love with was the I tried this one, which is the Ultim, but I think I would have liked the titanium better, probably the black if I was buying one. But these are button lock penguins with S90V deep hollow ground blades. So if you look at the regular penguins, which are really nice, and these are on sale, these are the two little guys, and this is the Plus, which is the big one. And these are titanium with M390 frame locks, but they're flat grinds, where this is a deep hollow. Huge fan. I've not tried one of his Lake Champlains. I held one. It is a bigger knife. But yeah, cool stuff there. And keep an eye because he will have some crazy sales. Hang in there, Paul Mills, dude. Just know I've got that long dental road ahead of me. I'm not looking forward to it. It's my fear, my unrealistic fear started, which was realistic because I had a shitty pediodontist. I had some traumatic shit go down. I got my tongue drilled once because I was pitching such a fit, my mom said. But that's where I found I think when I was about 5 years old, I realized the wonder of laughing gas, that if I breathe through my mouth and exhaled through my nose and held it, that I would get my dental chair to kind of spin, where I'd have to hold the sides to keep from falling out. And then 30 years later, 20 years later at dead shows, when I'd get a big balloon full of nitrous, it just took me back. It was awesome. Laughing gas for the win. Autumn wind. What is going on? What is going on? Happy Monday Mayhem. Knife Eclectic. What is going on, Marty? Good to see you, brother. Good to see all you kids. Stephen Clayton. What is going on? I've got to clean up my review area on the back side of this. Kyle Coonley, I've gotten really laid back too because I will only go. I'm still, even though I'm 8 years sober, haven't had a drink, I'm still will insist on nitrous. I won't listen to the sound of a drill or have somebody's hands in my mouth unless and I'll even tell them, no, you need to turn it up, please. You can bill me for it. That's the cymbal sound, Joe Isabella, in your heads. I used to love that stuff. We went in college before I realized you could buy the little cartridges, and I got my own little dispenser that you would just put 2 cartridges in, and then you could hold it if you didn't want to do balloons. But we would go to Kroger's because we lived right across the street from it. I had a roommate, and we lived in a duplex with 2 other dudes. We were all in the same fraternity. And like at midnight, we'd be wasted and we'd run over to Kroger and buy 2 cases of whipped cream, just the ready whip. And we'd sit in the front yard because we were kind of on a main drag because there was a Kroger across the way. And we'd just sit there, huff whipped cream off the top without shaking it, and just have a shitload of empty cans. They say it's bad for you. I dated a chick in right when I got out of college, and her dad was a dentist, and he got some weird condition that she tried to explain to me was because he didn't have this piece of equipment called a sifter, so he was getting constant leakage in his early practice days of nitrous oxide. But I knew her dad as an out of control prescription drug eating. He had a bottle of, at the time, Vicodin that was like this tall and this big. It must have been 500 under his little cupboard. This was back in the early 90s. And he also had the same size bottle of the blue 10 milligram Valiums. I know, because I would grab them. So I think he was probably kind of like the guy in Little Shop of Horrors that really enjoyed nitrous. And since he had access to it, maybe did it a lot. But he had some weird nerve issue that he got in his older years. He ended up having some other issues. I don't know if they were related, but because of that. So evidently it's not supersonic. You know, Paul, I never got a headache after it, and especially not at a dentist, because at a dentist, you're getting a mixture of nitrous and oxygen. You're not getting straight nitrous at the dentist. Now, at the Dead Show, or if you go get whipped cream, you're getting, or if you get the little cartridges at the tobacco shop where they have that legal, that is pure nitrous, right? So, but I've never gotten a headache off that. And that's pretty heavy. I mean, to go straight nitrous, I'm just as happy to have it blended for me there at the old chair. And Paul, I mean, to me, it takes my mind off the bullshit and the absolute horror and paranoia that I have once I walk in there. You know, I mean, I want them to, I wish they had a little rolling one out in the waiting room that I could just hook up to while they started asking me questions. Yeah, Joe, that's a fact, dude. That's one thing that's never given me a headache. Now, was I drink water? I might have gotten close. That's what happens because I don't know exactly where my distance is. I know when I turn, you can't hear me, so I don't know. I apologize. But yeah, that was a fun one. I don't know if y'all have ever seen that show. I can't think of it, but it's got that guy. I'll come up with it in a second. Pharmacopoeia. Has anybody here seen Pharmacopoeia, that series that used to be on Vice? I forget the Indian guy who was the host and who would try all the different stuff. But he went to some lab and tried some gas that was 1,000 times stronger than nitrous. And it was the most expensive gas in the world, in terms of not of, I guess, of all gases, inert gases, but of any type of gas like that. Oh, it'll take you into nowhere land through an IV drip. Let me find the name of that gas and just tell you all the price, because I want to say it was $8,000 per like lungful. Let's go YouTube. Hamilton is his name. That's the guy's name I'm thinking of who has that show, Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia. It used to be on let's see, on Vice. And let's go gas. Well, not the perfect answer. It's called Xenon gas. Xenon. Let me do a little more information for y'all. Xenon gas. So this is the stuff that is the strongest, most expensive. Let's see. Chemical element has a symbol X. That's not telling me enough. Is it the rarest on Earth? Only 1 part per 20 million, so it is very rare. Inhalation. The gas is inert and is classified as a simple blah, blah, blah. Inhalation in excessive concentration can result in dizziness. Yeah. is not approved. But anyway, it's pretty wild. If you get a chance, go check out his videos. If you're interested in shit like that, because this guy approaches everything from, I think he's a PhD. I don't know what his this is him with that xenon gas, but he goes and he'll hang out with like this guy. I mean, there's regular whippets, but he goes and does the shit so you don't have to. And it's fascinating. I never had Dilaudid. I did have Quaaludes. My favorite back in the day when I was in high school, I was a wrestler, so I had a bad elbow. I hurt it my sophomore year, and I took Percocet. Not Percodan, but Percocet. I was 14 or 15 when they prescribed me those. And I was on them prescribed for 2 or 3 years. But I guess that's back when they wanted, if you were doing anything athletic, I don't know if my coach wrote a note or my parents. So I don't know how it went back there. I guess they weren't that strict with stuff like that. And Chris, looking back, I wonder if the ones I got, they were 714s, but I wonder if they were legit. They were in 1983, 82 maybe? No, 83, I think. Late 82, 83. Yeah, I think the reason that opiates are so addictive is coming from an ex-addict who hasn't had an opiate in 8.5 years is because they work so well. For some people, they don't. I know people who don't like them, who they make them feel. The two people that were my sources for the better part of 13 years were both great friends of mine who went to clinics for legitimate disabilitating injuries, but didn't like the way their prescriptions made them feel. I, on the other hand, who had no disabilitating injuries, loved the way they made me feel, to the cost of about a hinderer every 2 days. So it got to be old. It became unsustainable. And I did not go anywhere. I did not go to rehab. I planned it out. I weaned for about a week. Felt shitty every day, and then went cold for 30 days. I felt like I had the flu. 30 days were real bad. First 21 were real shitty. Then, I had restless leg syndrome for at least 90 days. I didn't sleep good. Now, it was enough for me not to go back there. Now, I have given myself a pass if I ever, like when I go down my dental road or when I ever have excruciating surgery or something, I will not be opposed to taking them. I will just take them with the utmost respect. Snow Trog, I wonder, I don't know if you've read the stoned ape theory, but I wonder if all that stuff wasn't put here in moderation. Moderation is a personal thing. For everybody's idea of moderation is a little different, but I remember reading an article when I was a freshman in college. It was required reading in freshman English, and I forget who wrote it, but it was about heroin being administered through some of these safe cities, not making people go to crime and to dirty needles. That long-term heroin use, when applied safely or administered safely, correct dosing, was a very, very safe drug. It had very little negative impact on organs over time. It didn't do a lot of things that a lot of the other drugs do. I just don't know. I can't imagine And I know there are plants that'll kill you, so you can't say that because it's a plant, it's a good thing. I just think I think there's probably a cure for almost everything in nature. I think a lot of the reason that a lot of things are made bad is because big pharma doesn't want it to be thought of as an alternative. Experience precision, I totally agree. And you know who's kind of responsible for that, in my opinion, is the United States government. Um, I don't know if y'all remember the film that came back from Afghanistan that showed the Marines protecting the opium fields. Um, you know, America needs opium for the pharmaceutical industry, just like they need minerals for the cell phone industry. Um, so, if there are people that still don't think that the U.S. government, through a covert plan, started the crack epidemic to fund the Iran Contra scandal, there's a lot of pretty compelling evidence out there if you just want to read. And government for the people. It's just which people are they looking out for and not looking out for. Technology is huge, Kyle. I take probably 6 prescriptions a day that I'm convinced give my life a much better life, right? I don't ever say pharmacies are bad. I do think pharmacies, their ideal scenario is to come up with a treatment. I think a cure takes away future treatments. Yes. Opium does grow on a poppy, and it's not bad in its raw form. I've never done heroin, but I know that it's synthesized, and I know that it's much, much, much stronger. And I know that snorting it is totally different than shooting it. I know you can get addicted off anything, heroin-wise or opium-wise or pain pill-wise, because the shit works and your body craves it, right? After a while, it won't be, I guess everybody's different, but for me, it was probably 8 or 9 months when I realized it was no longer just a drug I did to help me get through the day. It was something I needed to be able to function. It became kind of a monkey on my back in a way. So like if I was traveling for business to Las Vegas for a week, I had to make sure you're just doing in knife chat, dang Ross, with me ranting about past drug addiction. But yeah, just going to Las Vegas for business, I had to make sure that I was set, right? So it put a lot of stress on you. It was a shitty way to live for me. I can only talk about my experiences. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. And if you're trying to quit, don't quit trying. Always keep trying, because the right thing will come along and you'll decide to, and you'll be happy you did. Drink water. I'm almost convinced that with the work going on here and the laws from state to state, that you'd be hard pressed to find better quality than you could find at certain areas here. Kyle, that's interesting. I took my dad to the doctor 2 days ago, and he goes to one of those VIP doctors, a nice guy. And he was just talking to my dad, who's got dementia, so my dad wouldn't remember. And I was just sitting there, and he was talking about how, I forget how many years ago, they used to have a bunch of doctors that would work together and kind of share profits and share information. And then these corporations, and he named it, and I forget what it was, came in and kind of standardized medicine, made it a lot harder for them. And that's why if you go in, not that I'm in the position to, but if you say, hey, I want to be billed cash, let's say you go to the emergency room with a broken arm, your bill's going to probably be a fuck ton less than if you have them bill it through insurance, because they know insurance is going to pay as little as possible, and they're just trying to cover their ass. That sucks, Michael Morgan. Life is so much better clean and sober. Chris, I will give you that. And I will tell you that I was unfortunately, my addiction started early and I had very little consequences. I got a DUI when I was 18, but I blamed that on a roadblock that I just happened to go through, taking a friend home out of my way. I didn't take responsibility for it, but I really didn't start noticing consequences till my late 30s. And that's when I knew I needed to get off the opiates because they had kind of taken over my life. I was a husband and a dad, and that's when spice and that shit started to come around, that synthetic marijuana. So I was looking for ways to trigger my dopamine without pain pills. And that was some bad shit. I mean, that was some of the, I've had a couple of substances that I've never heard of when I was really going through my stuff. One of them was salvia and the other was spice that rocked my world. Kyle, you know, it's funny because it was supposed to get better. And I just think, I mean, the medical industry as a whole is so convoluted, so confusing. And I mean, dealing with my dad's stuff, I'm glad my little brother's power of attorney, but having to file all that stuff and keep up with it. And it's just, it seems like it could be so much easier. Now, I think people should be protected over malpractice, right? I know when we ran a business making real high-end cabinets for about 11 years, the money we paid out for insurances and things like that is exorbitant. I mean, that's why, I mean, it's expensive to run a business, really of any type of business in America. If you're dealing with any kind of finishing, like acrylics or, you know, furniture paint, auto paint, any kind of paint, you're having to, we paid a company called Yellow Trucks. They're a national company. I can't think of the name. It's not Safety Clean, something like that. But they'd come around every 2 weeks and they would take like 3 55-gallon drums of waste we had and they would haul it off, and it would cost us $1,800 every 2 weeks just to dispose and get our paperwork that we disposed of the chemicals right. Then we had OSHA always come in to check. I mean, every quarter we'd have a visit from OSHA. It was just, it's not like you look at the cost of what you're selling and think we've got this many people's salaries, this much material, which means we're going to clear this much. There's so many, all kinds of costs. Michael Morgan, those are probably two of my favorites. And in the old days, in the opposite order, because in the old days for me were high school and when I was doing my whole dead thing. And I think that the sourcing was so much better back then. I haven't done that, the paper or the liquid in, I don't know, many years, but the others are very reliable, very available. I mean, if you want to go find them, and I think great. I think there's something that, and I'm glad to see states using them therapeutically. I think there's a lot to be said, and I think Pocket Metal would probably echo this thought of being in the right place with the right people and kind of an open mind and enjoying them in a safe setting. They can change your thought process long after the effects wear off. That to me is what's amazing about certain substances is the lasting effect. A good example is I was a hunter. I used to go dove hunting with my dad and duck hunting. I never went deer hunting, but I loved it. Had a shotgun, had all the shit, big time into it. Never ate the doves, never ate the ducks, but we always went with groups of people so we could give them away to people, right? We'd give our limits away. I loved it. I could shoot a limited doves, which was 15, with one box of shells, which was 25 shells. I shot a Ruger Red Label over and under. Loved it. 13 or 14, we had an ice storm in Huntsville. My best friend's parents were snowed in Philadelphia. We're in Huntsville, so we had his house, and we got our first microdots. The first time I'd ever done that. We went out on the town, which was just an icy mess on sleds with transformers blowing up. About 2 hours into it, I hit a bump on my sled, and it was so cold I split my chin open. So I had to skate. We had to sled about 4 miles to the hospital, and me and one lady that had fallen were the only people in the emergency room, and I had to get stitches. Came out, sled was stolen, mine was, walked back in the ice. It was horrible. So anyway, I'm still hard into the effects, and the next morning woke up. I was supposed to go hunting. This was like on a, I don't know, maybe a Thursday. It was a weird day of the week because it was an ice storm closing everything down. Maybe that weekend I was supposed to go hunting. Maybe this was a Tuesday. And as the week wore on, we didn't do any more. We just kind of hung out, waited for it to dry out. We'd go to my house to eat because we lived in the same neighborhood and we could walk down. But it was a mess. But after that, and I'm convinced that it was because of that, because afterwards, it'd been a year or so, but I started doing it more, and it reinforced the fact that I loved shooting shotguns, and I still love to shoot skeet. I just can't shoot animals. I have no desire to shoot. Dean, I think that's fascinating, and I've never even recreationally experimented with it, but I've heard again and read people having great results from the treatments that they get from it. I think the more society makes people feel like they shouldn't try something, and they let different, I don't know if you'd call them physicians or different experts in the field, look at ways to apply testing to see if some of that stuff works. Because mental health is one of the shittiest things going on right now. I mean, mental health, the economy, the threat of war, all the crazy shit. If you have ways outside of these crazy ass NSAIDs that I have to take with other shit, I would much rather have a natural way to treat it, or something that was different, right? I'm a big proponent in that. Another really cool knife I got in this week from Vosteed. You guys might have seen the Acorn. I never did. But this is a mini Acorn. And it's mini because it's a smaller knife. Let's put it up next to the nip. Bigger than the nip. But it's got a banging finger choil. So it holds like a much bigger knife. I can get 4 on it very easily with that choil. Liner lock, like $42. Top flipper with a pill-shaped hole. I did an unboxing, but I've got a review coming on this. This one's G10. They also have them in micarta, some other finishes, but I think everything I've ever gotten from Vosteed, I never liked the Bellamy, but that's before I was buying raccoons and nightshades and stuff like that. But every Vosteed I've tried, I've really liked, even though I just missed that flick. I probably need to take this apart, clean it up, because it's black. Why am I failing it? But that's a good little knife for under $50. Only bossy I'm interested in is the Griffin. Let me look at what that one is. Is that the new thin one? I think Vosteed is absolutely killing it. Ooh, you like that blade shape? I know that's a great cutter. Let me pull it up so you guys can see it. Kyle, I know Kyle doesn't like, I'm telling you guys, I've got a titanium dachshund. I've given away a bunch of Vosteeds, and I've got some more to give away, but every single Vosteed that I've had has been a very good knife. Now, again, it's not an heirloom knife that you're going to pass on to your family and their family's family, but they're well-made knives, and I really like, what is his name? What is his name? Not him. Hold on. I met this guy at my first blade show. You is one of the young guys, one of the founders and one of the designers, and I think he's designing cool stuff. I think the PSYOP, which I didn't own, but my buddy A to Z got one, is probably one of the slickest knives. I think they did a great job with that top liner lock. I know that's a collaboration with another designer, but just a fantastic knife. I've not tried their Hedgehog that has the same lock, but I had the liner lock raccoon, not the liner lock, the axis lock raccoon and the button lock raccoon. One of them was a cleaver. I've got the Talosaurus and the Dachshund. The Dachshund's probably the best. Let me grab it. It's probably the best bar lock I've got. Rob's Nerdy Knives gave one of these away tonight. Not the Dachshund, but one of these Talaris, which is a U design. Mine's white G10, and it's got hand junk on it. It needs to be cleaned up. It has a thumb disc, has a bar lock, has an awesome blade, 14C. Feels great in the hand. And it's got a little snap for a bar lock. My favorite is the Dachshund. The Dachshund to me is like the full-size, nice version of the Talaris. It's a top flipper. Very comfortable knife. With thumb studs that has that same kind of snap. This knife's a little more expensive because it's titanium and M390 as opposed to G10 and $14C. I think this is like 70, 72 bucks. Great little knife. And size-wise, Kathleen, I love the mini Labrador. I gave one of those away on the show. The Corgi was a great knife. It wasn't my style, but it worked very well. I'm trying to think what else. The Corsair was kind of a nice knife. It wasn't really my jam stylistically, but all their knives seem to work very well for me. And their Mink, which is a fixed blade. Morning, Messer. Good day, my man. The let's see, the Vosteed. Show you something. I love the Nightshade, but this knife I got to check out. Tippy, sorry about that, guys. The cat's going crazy. I got to check this knife out before it was named, before it had a sheath. And I would like to say that I helped come up with the sheath, just telling them not to spend a lot. I didn't want them to put this clip on. I just wanted a Kydex sheath for it. But this is the Mink. This is a fixed blade knife that has some nice texturing on the handle. Nitro V blade, small kind of EDC sized. I really enjoyed that knife. I had one that was a prototype that I gave away on Friday Night Flicks. Oops, I wasn't sharing that, was I? I had one that was a Tippy's knocking shit over. I don't know if y'all can hear that. I had one that was a prototype that we gave away on a Friday Night Flicks. And then I had one that was a production model that we gave away on Friday Night Flicks. But a really good little, what I think of as a good shape, inexpensive, or fairly expensive, nice sharpening choil, just nice little EDC fixed blade. So I like to see companies spread their wings, and I like to see more fixed blades being made. Because to me, if you're making folders, there's so many folders that would make fantastic fixed blades. And I would think it'd be easy for somebody to make that shift. Now I think Griffin Company, Combat Beads, started making their fixed blades before their folders. What's up, Mind to Milton? How are you, brother? And then I think they turned that knife into a folder, but I can't remember. I can't keep up with all that stuff. But I am going to have to buy some of those little troll candy defecate packs or whatever they're called to put in my knife cases to suck up moisture. Paul, the Tippinator's just knocking shit off at will. I don't know where she went. I think she might have jumped up and knocked off some of the knives that I'm reviewing after this live tonight. Y'all let me know what you think about the video that comes out tomorrow morning. It's going to be different. I've taken my top 10 old school knives. There are a lot of knives that I've kept in the collection because I love them. I don't carry them as much because I'm having to carry new stuff, and I'm liking to carry new stuff, right? But they're knives that I've never been willing to let go, either selling them, trading them. They're just knives that mean something to me, and it's because they're good knives. Oh, there's Tippy. She's taking over my spot over there. She does own the space, Dean. Cats, if you guys have ever lived with a cat, they don't really own the space, but they can make your space very unpleasant place to be if they want to knock your shit over or fuck with your stuff. And luckily, the worst she does is she brings a lot of victims around. Ron Dobbins, that is sweet. The Pina Mulia, the Golden Design Nugget, and the Jack Wolf Venom. I'm not familiar with the Nugget, but let me look at it. Nugget. I'll tell you what I am familiar with, though. I shouldn't talk about it. Dude, that is beautiful. See, this is another knife. That's why I love hearing what you guys are carrying, because I'm not familiar with this. Is that a liner? That is gorgeous. What's the damage on this? $349, $199 for the titanium. What's the difference in the LTD besides the carbon fiber? What's this made out of? What's the blade steel on the hand rub satin, blah, blah, blah. Select which blades. Here's. Okay, so they all have the same blade steel, but what is the blade steel? Am I missing it? I guess you guys are probably telling me in the chat and I can't see it. 154 cm. Interesting. Let me show y'all something, and y'all tell me if this reminds you of anything. Satisfaction, what is up, brother? Y'all know what that is? That's the Golden Design Works caliber. It is a cool knife. I saw it. It's been I don't know, reviewed. It's a little old, but it's unique in that let me find it. Let me find it. Why is it not showing it? Hold on. I know it wasn't a standard. No, it was a Keller. So we have got a button actuated frame lock. So it's very similar, not in look, but the locking mechanism is very similar to what the Tri-Stash uses, which I think is a very cool locking mechanism. I've never tried it, but basically you can use the button to push the lock out of the way, or you can use the frame lock like a normal one. G-Ball, I got this one. Let me show it to you. I'm not gonna pull that off. It's the just the Rode mic, the $99 one. And I've got, dude, let me show you the board I've got, because I've got a board that sounds good. That's a Rode board too. So this is the mic I got. Probably close to a year ago. Let's see. So that's the mic I got. And then this is the board I got right after I lost my job, because I knew this was a good board. But the board I had before, it's in a case, is a great board. It's also a Rode. Hold on. That's a little dual channel interface that you can plug a mic, or it's a single mic. So you can plug one mic, one guitar into it. It's got it sounded good. It just didn't have all the shit that I wanted. So it's got left and right outs. It's a good little interface. But if you've got an interface, that mic, I really enjoyed this mic. I liked it because Ray and them used it, the one I want, but I've got to be doing a lot more shit before I get one of these. But if I'm not mistaken, not the USB-C, I think this is the Bad Daddy, the industry standard for all the big podcasts. The ones that I know that I don't know if Rob's in here, but Rob uses a Shure. I don't know if he uses this one. But there's so many good mics out there. The first mic I had said Stevie recommended it to me, and it is a great mic. It was just a little USB mic. What happened to Maddie? Maddie, what's up? I'm sorry, buddy. I like the shape of it, Paul. I like the Warncliffe. The Golden Design Works seemed big to me. I've not held Tri-State's knife. He sent it around to a few people, G-Bizzle, but he did not send it to me. G-Ball, they're different. The Blue Logitechs, I think, sound great because I started out with USB mics. I started out with the mic that said Stevie recommended to me. And I had one of Grateful Panic's interfaces that was used USB, but I don't have a lot of USB ports on my laptop. So after researching it for a while, XLR is that, those bigger plugins, right? So they make a lot of mics that you can plug in either one. So I bought this little soundboard. Let me show it to you. And this is available if anybody wants it. I'm not trying to sell it because I don't care, but this is what I used with my Rode mic first. I had an Audio Technica mic first that Grateful Panic had, but then I bought the Rode, and you just plug it in here, and then you've got your headphone out. You've got your USB where you just run a USB-C to your computer, powers this. Simple, simple, simple. I think they still make these. You can still get them on Amazon, but this one's available. It's been used probably 7-8 times. Because like I said, when I lost my job like an idiot, I got a huge stipend and I wanted to go ahead and bang that out. Now, G-Ball, do you have an interface or are you just going straight into your computer? Because you can buy the Rode mic or any of the mics, including the blue one, for I'm trying to think. Let's do this. G-Ball, DM me. I'll make you a good deal, buddy. I'll send it to you. You can check it out, see if you like it. Just DM me. Let me show you this other, because you can get any of these mics that you don't have to use a board with. And I'm not an audiophile, but I know that a lot of the guys that do are very particular about, I don't know why they don't like USB as much. Now, this one's $100 more, but I don't think you're losing any quality. So this is the same mic, but it's a USB. So it plugs straight into your computer, right? I think they make a cheaper one. One went on Amazon. But I had terrible sound at first. And I'll tell you what kind of helped. And I don't think my sound's good now. But what really helped was putting some of that cheap foam just in a few places in my dining room where I broadcast from, because it was making kind of slapback sounds. Trying to get it to pull up the one that's, because I think the one I was showing you from Sweetwater was more expensive. Anyway, again, the only reason I got the Rode was because it was within my price range. Here it is, $199 for the USB. So you've got your choice. This is the same mic, but you can choose to just plug it straight into a computer or a phone, or you can plug it into a board. But I will definitely make you a good deal on it, G-Ball, because I don't use it. It just kind of takes up space. It's kind of a backup in case something happens to my wonky one. Where is it? I would have liked to try the caliber. I mean, the closest thing I've had to anything like that, and it's not a frame lock, was the Vosteed. Damn it. I go so dyslexic, brain dead. The PSYOP and my SMOT. Knife Eclectic, are you getting latency, dude? Or, oh, you're talking about something else. DAW is a different deal, Knife Eclectic. That's a little bit more involved, because I do music stuff too. I mean, I'm a guitar player, so I've run sound, not well, like a hack, but I know the problems you run into. And if you research or watch videos on this Rode stuff, It is so plug and play. And the one thing it says about this is Mackie, I was wrestling between a Mackie because that's the kind of board I always used. And when you did the comparison, the Mackie is more geared for music production, right? So I can record guitars, I can record instruments on here, I can even multi-track it, but that's not a strong point. It's just set up to be a plug and play, very, to me, user friendly. And I don't even use all the features because I can Bluetooth into it. That's why I've got a Discord, and I apologize. I've got to learn how to use it and use Discord calling. But I can bring in phone calls. I can bring in all kinds of stuff. I just don't know how to do it yet. That's what I'm using, G-Ball. I love the pod mic. The pod mic, the reason Ray and Kelly use it too on Everyday City Carry. That's where I first heard it. I don't know if I have mine set up right. The nice thing about my Rodecaster Duo is it's got an automatic setting for this mic. So I didn't tweak it or anything. I just went with it, right? So I think for $99, it's a great mic. Now, I never tried a Yeti, but I've listened to your podcasts and they sound great. Your live streams sound great. But the Rode pod mic, if you watch the big podcasts, some of them use them, but it's more of a budget option for those bigger podcasts. The Shure, I think it's the S97 is the industry standard, but it's too expensive. I can't justify it. I mean, it sounds great. I think Rochambeau, I don't know which one he uses. He might use that. And I know Rob's Nerdy Knives uses a Shure. But Rode, if you just research them, G-Ball, because Rode is very, I would get a $99 Rode. And yeah, you can pick this up, G-Ball. On Amazon, it's 99 bucks. I'm sure I could make it go with the case for half price. And it's 100% functional and the computer powers it. So basically this and a mic is all you need to run, you know, if you've got an open USB-C port. Now, what I will not do, and which also problematic, why I want another computer, but I'm just not there now, because I want extra monitors. I don't have the power to run that. I tried it. But you want to run this directly into a USB-C board or a USB-C port. You don't want to run it into an adapter. This is a USB-C. Do you have a Android, G-Ball? Because I'm not sure. You need to research. This has got a way to go from USB-C to your computer, and I'm guessing it will go from USB-C to your phone too. Let's look at it. Hold on. I've just never, let's go right here, go Rode. Because I know a lot of people podcast directly to their phone. A1, what the hell is this thing called? Here we go, AI1. All right, let me share the screen. And I know you guys are bored with this. We'll talk about knives here in just a second. I'm hoping Pocket Metal is going to join us. He's going to be so mad at me for talking about just shit like this. So let's look at. Well, I saw that earlier. I don't want to look at bundles. Let's see if the goddamn thing plugs into a phone. I guess the studio kit will tell us this just has a mic. Let's see. Let's see. I would think it would run into your phone. All right, we're going to find this. Then I'm getting out of here, guys, because I know this is driving you crazy. Where is my freaking, just the unit? I saw the unit earlier, which was giving me all the deets about it. And I've bought it before. I know where it is. It's in my store. Orders. I don't know orders. All right. Where is my store? Whoops. All right, go. Never mind. Screw it. I don't know where it is. And I'm sure it's right here under me. Anywho's, yeah, there are a lot of different ways to go. Because like I said, Sid Stevie's sound to me is great. And I had that mic and I gave it to my buddy A to Z EDC because I thought he was going to join me. And then he came on one of the first nights and was just a weirdo. So I kicked him out. So there are some killer knives out there. One I have reached out about that I'm thinking about making my first purchase in quite a while. I don't know if y'all are familiar with Viper knives, but they've got a knife called the Handy. I did a review on it. Uh-oh, don't want to do that. Fuck, almost into the stream. Because Austin sent me one to check out from White Mountain Knives. Where is it? Damn it. Guys, I apologize for being so slow and inept in running this tonight to share with you guys. Let's do this. Boom, boom. And this is a really good fixed blade knife if anybody's looking. Now, there are less expensive. This knife, this exact same knife, is less expensive on other sites, about $40. I'm not seeing this one. This one's new. That's a fixed blade. Yeah, this one right here is the one I tried out. So this is about 153 at River's Edge Cutlery, I think. But it's a Magna Cut, drop point, really nice swedge, really nice contouring on that micarta handle. 7-inch knife. I think it's a winner. And if you go and you check some of these other places, you will see it's 154 there. Comes with a Kydex sheath. But that's one that I might pick up. I mean, I kind of hate to because I've already reviewed it. Take care, brother. Enjoy. Paul, good to see you, brother. Good to see you. I haven't had my critters come around. What else was I going to show you guys tonight? I've been carrying this little knife quite a bit. This was a pink breast cancer awareness. I forget who put it out, one of the retailers. But it's a little native Spyderco. Little compression lock. I want to say it's S45. Yeah. CPM S45. And I put the Sharp Dress micarta scales on it. But to me, this is like a mini shaman. I love the shape of this knife, and I love the ergos. It's very similar in carry profile to the Mini Acorn. But these are reasonably priced too. I want to say when I got this knife, it was like $160, maybe. But it's a winner. Super slicey. I do love my Spydercos. I need to feature them more because I've been carrying also. My Mannix 2 is probably my favorite, but the first knife I ever was successful at middle finger flicking was my Shaman. And this is a big boy knife, but this one is in CTS XHP. It was a Cutlery Shop exclusive. I've got orange G10 scales in the box. The Spyderco, and this is, y'all plug your ears. I love my Golden Colorado Spydercos, but I will put my Taichung Taiwan Spydercos up against any one of these, and they seem better. They just seem awesome. Take care, Mr. Eddie. Good to see you, buddy. I didn't see you drop in here. I'm so terrible. I'm always on other web pages. But I love the Golden Colorado Spydercos. I've got 3 pair of 2s, kind of what I think of as a perfect EDC knife. But like my Sage 5, my Watu, my Akushi, I've got them in another case over there. But they're such nice knives. The only thing I don't like is that fake carbon fiber G10 material they use for handles. But like on my smock, I was able to update it and put some Raylite. They were very inexpensive. And I know Raylite's Chinese. I should have gotten something better, but at the time they're like $69 for diamond patterned. Oh no, Kyle. I would, buddy. If I was, I would sell it to you. And if I ever do, you will have first right of refusal. But it is one of my grails. There are a few. Paul Mills will tell you there are a few knives that I'm just really partial to right now. Now times change. Times change and needs develop. So I will keep you in mind. I found that on NAF sale before it was Blade Binge. And I've told you guys this before in lives, and I'm sure y'all do it. But when I go to Blade Binge, like when I saw that knife, it was priced up there. And when you fill out a listing, because I've tried to sell on Blade Binge, I wasn't successful. I had my buddy do it on eBay, and I made like 150 more bucks in like 2 days because there's a larger audience. But you've got their charges, not a lot, this fair, but there are fees associated with it. So you're kind of encouraged as a seller to price your knife up there, which as a shopper, you look at it and you're like, that's not a great deal. So what I've done on every purchase I've made there, and I've made at least 7 purchases of used knives, and they've all turned out not only to be good knives, but I've messaged and become acquaintances with a lot of the people selling on here, right? So I'm not suggesting this, but I've had listings go away and somebody reach out and sell me the knife directly. So if you see a knife on Blade Binge and it's priced, you're like, that's not a good deal. Let me show you how to do it. Because I always start the conversation with a question. So I'm looking around here at a knife that I want to check out. This is I haven't tried the large drift, but I click on that. That seems high. I'd be interested if it was, say, closer to 275. What's the quantity? Like new in box. And then I would log in. And once I'm logged in, I can message the seller. And then they'll message you back. And this is how I've negotiated. And I haven't been an asshole. Like on the Lamia, I was trying to get it closer to table price. I said, I know you need to make some money on this, and I don't want you to pay shipping. I'm interested in one, but I'm interested in one at closer to table price. And the guy was real nice. We ended up talking, and he gave me a good deal. There's some good stuff on Blade Binge. I would say No, I wouldn't. I mean, there's great stuff on eBay, but there's also a lot of shady shit on eBay. I've got a buddy who's made a living on eBay with other stuff and with knives for years, and he's got certain people he deals with. He sells a lot of stuff, and there are a lot of good knives out there, but there are a lot of junk too. So yeah, there's stuff out here that's interesting. And another place I've not shopped, and y'all tell me, do y'all ever go to LJ or Love Them Knives site? I used to love, hey Marisol, I used to love watching his knife sale videos. But I haven't been to his site. Let's go to it. Love Them Knives. Knives. Is that it? Yeah, all right, here we go. Now I think these are his subscribers or maybe members. So you can find some really interesting stuff here too. Here's a Slim Pickens for $2.95. But yeah, there are a lot of places. And that's what's cool about this community is we all are consumers. We love our sharp shit. Yeah, eBay's got zero seller protection, Snow Trog, but like I've got a buddy who has been doing it for 15 years, and he's got a certain rating, and he deals with people, and he knows how to vet people. I mean, for him, he's never been, knock on wood, screwed off eBay, but a lot of people have. I think he knows how to fish out stuff that's not legit, and he has people send him different stuff. But there is zero seller protection. That is a fact. And I'll tell you guys, a lot of these, and I don't know if y'all have seen them, but they pop up and Google organic search will bring them to you if you search for a certain knife, these fraudulent sites. And when you get in checkout, it takes you to a PayPal checkout and it wants you to do friends and family and gives you this little story. Most people wouldn't do it. I ordered one early in the morning, and it was a scam. And you can't, PayPal won't do anything either. And I don't know if eBay has a way to get seller protection or buyer protection, but yeah, I don't shop there. But when I was trying to get rid of that PMP Titano, I paid, it was $5.50. I got it for $5. I was trying to sell it for $3.50 on NAF sale, Blade Binge. I left it on there for a couple of weeks. And then he said, dude, they're selling on eBay for $4.95 and they've got some new ones for $5.50. And I took it off Blade Binge, gave him the pictures, or let him take pictures so it would look like his listings. He listed it for $4.75. It had like 13 watchers in a day, and it sold in 7 days because it had a buy it now on it for $4.75. So I got $125 more, and it sold quickly. So all I'm saying is, yes, there's a lot of risk there, but there's a ton more traffic. There's a ton more searches for knives that we have. But there's shady shit. There's shady shit everywhere. There's shady shit, I don't think in my chat, but there's shady shit in chat rooms with people making deals that they don't fulfill on. I've had conversations because I know a lot of people that I talk to, and I won't call any names, but I know a lot of people in the community who have dealt with other people in the community that we all kind of know and not had great experiences. So you've always got to look out for yourself. And one of the things that I believe is if a deal, and I've learned this, if a deal's too good to be true, don't go there. Something's wrong. Something's fishy. And if somebody gives you a hardship case, like they've, in this terrible situation, they've got to move a knife, if it's legit and you're a good person, you're going to be more realistic with giving them closer to what it's worth, make a good deal on it, but you don't have to take it for a unrealistic price. But more importantly than that, beware if somebody's offering something for nothing. That's how Monster Racing used to get people all the time. Actually got to get with Eric about a couple of listings I spotted on Goose Guard, but that's good, Knife Eclectic, dude. I do. I used to go, and it was kind of a sport for me until I realized that you could communicate with people. But when I first became aware of it and I saw people high grossing knives, buying them and trying to flip them, I would leave them, you should be ashamed of yourself messages. And I felt like that wasn't my place. So I quit doing it. But yeah, it's, I think for a while there was a whole rash of SE, what are they called? Not the SE3, not the Candiri, but the one in between it that doesn't have handles. I think there were a lot of fake ones on there because there were like 10 in different colors and they were like $45. And if you go to AliExpress, God willing, I mean, there's everything you'd ever want there. Looks just like it. I mean, it's crazy. And what's so sad is you can go the Azula. That's it, Palmer. Thank you. Palmer's the drop in wisdom. But if you go to Amazon, I don't even want to encourage it, but if you go to Amazon and you use the search term titanium or just counterfeit, you put the word counterfeit knives and hit search, and your mind will just go. You would think somebody could reach out to Amazon if I was a maker and say, hey, this is not kosher at all. This is a hard fail. A hard fail. Let's do it. Not to encourage it because you guys are all, but you would think that there would be some kind of, I think it was clones that I searched. Yeah, that's right. Hold on. So this comes up under counterfeit. That's 940 looking. All right, let's do it. It was cloned. So this is where you're going to see a ton of shady ones. And you'll see some legit ones in there too. But I mean, they don't even hide it. They put it in their search terms. Look at this. This is like a ProTech. I don't know which model. And I'm sure it's not like it, but it looks like it. I mean, to me, that's just sad. It seems like all you have to do is send a letter or cease and desist or something. Maybe it's not that easy. But some of these are, I mean, some of them are even called manual opening bug out 535. They're even using the model number 8CRV. So you can tell it's not the shit, but at the same time, you can't call it. I mean, I got a lot of shit for this knife, but at least they call it the EF225. They don't call it something that it's not. Well, it is, but it's not. Anyway, we'll get out of there. There's a Gonzo that looks just like a Lion Steel. Yeah, Be Shaded. And Grateful Panic ordered one of those when he lived here from AliExpress, and it came in and we compared it. Indistinguishable. I was convinced after seeing it and handling it that it probably comes from the same line that's making the originals, that maybe they've got a fourth shift that just comes in there and takes parts and makes knives that they're going to sell on the open market in China. I don't know, but it is and maybe if these knives are CNC made, because I don't know enough about it, but that once you've got that program, any machine shop can do it. I just don't know. I just know that this knife was very good. Kathleen, have a great night. Thanks for staying up with us so late. I apologize for Brother Pocket Metal still being out. I hope he's safe. Yeah, Greenthorn makes scary, scary good clones. And there is a site, what is it called? God, that has they have about 8 different clones. They've got some Medfords, and they're not cheap. They're like 185. They've got it begins with an H. I want to say it's a German name. They've got some what's it called? What are those flipper knives? Because Grateful Panic told me about it. It's something here. Let's see. Let me do this. Titanium cloned Medford. This site I'd heard about from Grateful Panic, and he was telling me about somebody who sent him one to review when he was doing reviews. Oh, let's see what it's called. I don't see it, but anyway, it's a. Let's see if anybody put it in the chat. No, it's a site that God, what was it called? It's not one that I would remember. I don't think I put it in my bookmarks either. Let me look. I don't know. I would have. Nope. I want to do that. But then again, that's another reason. If you, and I'm not taking up for overseas manufacturers, I just think that they have legitimately different cultural opinions on intellectual property. So I think as any designer who's looking at a Chinese manufacturing option, you should almost expect that. And now what's kind of ironic is you're seeing, like I showed you with that Riot Exo on Amazon, you're seeing them start to clone each other. So that's a Riot knife that sells for what, $245? And you've got a clone that Jared reviewed a couple of days ago that is D2, but it's $35, and the action and everything else is identical. Yeah, there is no such thing, Todd. And I don't think they do it. This is where Shane and I have had some back and forth. I don't think they do it because they're assholes. I think it's just the way that their culture has evolved products and how it's almost like we see something and we improve on it, or we find a way to do it for less. Knife Eclectic, I wouldn't either. Dude, the Best Tech thing with the relative, what was that one called? When John decided not to use, no, QSP. I wouldn't use QSP. Because I remember that John had them proto the relative and Best Tech, and Best Tech got it. And then QSP put out that knife. What was it called? The blade looked just like the relative. Let's do this. QSP. Organize. I won't be able to find it. I'm going to show you a knife that I think is, if it's not an exact copy, but it's goddamn close. Knowing that they protoed it, it makes it seen even kind of worse. Where is it? We got too many different models. Here it is. The Rhino. So if you guys are familiar, I'll get one to show it to you. So this is the relative. Now it doesn't have a flipper tab, but it has a front flipper. And that's a knife that QSP, who manufactured up until this knife, all the other EMP EDCs did not get this contract. Bestech did. And about a month later, this knife came out, which is different. It's not identical, but it's pretty damn similar. I would have gotten a bad taste in my mouth. But not really. I mean, because I think you should expect that. I mean, I think if nothing else, just from the videos on YouTube by disgruntled makers who are very anti Chinese knives, it's pretty apparent that your design's not safe. And patents aren't protected. I learned when we trademarked a name, Vanisher, when we had that wood company, and we couldn't patent our designs because they were handcrafted designs. We weren't manufacturing them in mass. And even if we did, you have to apply and pay for a US trademark and a global trademark. And our patent attorney, the global trademarks are very expensive. And our patent attorney said he doesn't recommend the international trademark because chances are if somebody's going to produce your goods, it's going to come from China, and they don't and can't be held liable for trademark infringement or patent infringement because they don't recognize it. Now, America could say we're not going to let you import that, but that would start. I mean, they're not going to do that. We're not going to do that for whatever reason. Yeah, Bestech's like a logistical company, right, Kyle? Aren't they like? I think they're the ones that get all the shit together, probably put together the shady deals, the good deals. Now, I've got a Bestech knife that evolved or was born out of a bad situation that I'm not aware of. Let me grab it because it's in that video tomorrow. Hold on. So I'm sure somebody can tell me about this knife, but this was a knife that was designed and marketed by a small maker. When I went to Blade Show in 2023 or 2022, it was on Bestech's table. Bestech was OEMing it, but it had a Bestech logo and a Bestech box. It's a hollow grind bolster lock. I want to say it's LMAX. LMAX blade. I don't want to say I got it for like $250. And I think they're very limited production because there was a deal that went bad where the designer didn't have the second 50 when it was due and Bestech took over the project. Does anybody know who I'm talking about? Knife Eclectic. I think the V1, I've not tried any of the others. But I traded for the V1 frame lock and love this knife for an EDC knife and a cutter. Kyle, you're exactly right. Evolve DDC. Thank you, Knife Nut 69. So Evolve DDC designed it and made me interested in it. And then when I saw it at Blade Show, just walking around, I thought it was their knife, and somehow it became a Best Tech. And for some reason, I'm not aware of them making more runs of it, but I think it was a very popular knife. I know it's a very good knife. Now it is ugly, Mersalt, but it's different. And if you don't worry about those venereal warts on the spine of the blade, it's got a great opening hole, got great detent, and it's got a blade. I got to get a coupon book. It's an absolute slicer. A sad knife eclectic. You know, that's one thing about, I don't know, and I know Lefty would tell me, and I think they've got it kind of now at a different level, and they're producing different price point knives, but I'm guessing, and tell me if I'm wrong, that the only way that you could get, or a maker or designer could get themselves in that position, would be from internal mismanagement of funds, right? There's nothing that's going to go on in the production process that's going to change your quote, or is that what it is? I wonder, because I would think if you're not prepared, you know, because I would think your pre-sale covers your knife and your profit. And then it's up to you to manage those resources. What is up, Rob's Nerdy Knives? How are you, buddy? We were talking about you a second ago, and it was about a knife you had. What was it? I'll think about it in a second, dude. And I know you can't stay long, but do y'all remember what I was going to ask Rob about? Because y'all asked about a knife, and he's got it. What is it? Not the Mitlaw, Rob. It was I don't know. It'll come back to me probably after you leave. I apologize. But yeah, I hate that happened to not these guys, but to Beyond EDC. And it looks like, at least in their case, it's amicable. They got it worked out. But it sounds to me nose nachos with pre-order money. Snow Trog, that's all I could figure, right? It wasn't the S-Tau 2, but that is an awesome knife. I forget what it was, but it was something odd, and I'll think about it in a second. Oh, talking about the Talaris that he gave away. That's exactly right. I was just talking about how Vosteed, in my opinion, has really raised the game, and their bar locks, not just on this knife, but on the Dachshund, are as good as any as I've experienced. And I think they're just great knives. Oh, microphone. Thank you, Snowtrog. Rob, you've got a Shure. Which Shure mic do you use? We're talking about mic quality. And I saw tonight that it was a Shure. Knife Eclectic, send me a DM. So I'll check it tomorrow and remember. And I'll make sure you get to own one. But Rob, what's your mic, brother? It's a Shure. Is it an S97? I don't know if it's I know they've got like 3 or 4 price points. And I know all the big podcasts, the ones that I watch that aren't really knife podcasts, use them. Yeah, your microphone that you were using for your live stream, MV7 Shure. Yeah, so I don't know if G-Ball's still in here, but when I upgrade from my pod mic, if I upgrade from my pod mic, because I haven't seen a need yet, the Shure is the next route that I would go. I wouldn't upgrade my board, but I think those mics, I mean, they sound great. I think Rochambeau uses one too. I think they pick up more. I don't think you have to be right up on them because I noticed Rob's not sitting right on his, and you can hear him great. What are y'all talking about, Kyle? I mean, Marty. Let me get in on it. What ended up on dealers? Let's see. Kyle, they didn't pre-order those. They just appeared at dealers. Yeah, Rob, it sounds great, dude. Your lives, you carry your lives so well. I mean, usually I'm driving, so I'm not able to chat. So you're in listen mode, which is really better because I think if you listen to something and you engage with it, it's being produced, done better than if you're watching it. So hats off to you. And you draw a huge audience, which is great. You're going to do great, buddy. Just keep doing you. Marty, I will give you a contact name and an email, and you would be surprised. They are some of the most. When I don't even think I had 1,000 subs. They sent me a Corsair, kind of an entry level Corsair. I never had affiliate links because I've only had affiliate links for like, I don't know, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, maybe. And the thing about affiliate links, yes, they're great because they help the channel, but what they do to the manufacturer or to the retailer is they go, wait a minute, this guy or that gal or that guy, their videos are sending us a lot of business where these guys aren't. And it makes a difference on who gets what knives. So a lot of the time that I love people to use my links is I like it when a retailer or a manufacturer reaches out to me and said, hey, that was, that made a difference because they can track our codes in our sales. And I promise you, you will never see me say a knife is a good knife if I would not buy it myself. Whether I buy it, every knife I reviewed up till about a year ago were knives I bought. I was just reviewing knives out of my collection. And the knives that I review from other companies are knives that I request. I might not request the exact knife or it might not be available, but I will request the manufacturer. And I turned down a lot of opportunities. I took one Rimet, and most of them I'm not interested in, but they had a fixed blade that I wanted to see. I wanted to check it out because it was $69. And except for the ferro rod, which I thought was kind of unneeded, but you could take the holder off the sheath. It was a good knife for $69. D2, I mean, it's not great, but you could beat the hell out of it at a campsite. But then there are other things that I just don't have any interest. I mean, I could have Ned Frost knives here every other day. And I might find one or two that are decent knives, but they're not something, there are enough brands that I've immersed myself with in my collecting that I really like, from Civivis to Kaisers to a few Benchmades that I really like, Spydercos, Protex, Devos, Best Techs. There's some Best Techs I like, even though they're not a company. And then a lot of, small batch makers. It's just, and to me, what's really unique is how my likes have changed. How what I used to think I would never be interested in, like a Hinderer, not only did I become interested in, but I really respect and like, and I never understood them before. Out the front knives, any out the front knife. I was never a fan until I started carrying my EMP EDC, the Warncliffe, because I would use it all the time. Brian F., I 100% agree with you, and I always carry a ferro rod, but this particular, let me show you something. This particular Remiette had a ferro rod holder built into the sheath. And the ferro rod was not just a ferro rod. It didn't have a 90-degree spine except right up by the tip. And the ferro rod had a string that tied it to a ferro rod striker. So it's something that you would put in your pack and you could use it without the sheath. You could use it without the knife. So to mount it on the knife, I thought was, I told them too. Remiette fixed blade. And I mentioned it in the video. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Because I do agree, a ferro rod, don't leave home without one. So here is the knife that I reviewed and gave away. Somebody, one of y'all want it. So what it doesn't show here is these come tied together. So you've got the ferro rod, it comes tied to this little striker, which is a great striker. It strikes well. But the sheath, unfortunately, has this little holder. Notice he doesn't have his in his. But the good thing is you can take the screw off. When I carried mine, I took the clip off and I put just an ulti clip on it. But you can, when you take that ulti clip off, you can take that ferro rod holder off. And you'll notice that this is a rounded spine until you get right up here to the point. And I don't want to strike a ferro rod that close. So I think the ferro rod's a great idea. I just think the way they integrated it into this design as part of the knife, didn't need it. Or they could have just done it as an accessory without the holder, right? Just my thought. Just my thought. I love them. And I wish I had it out here, but I have an LT Wright Frontier First, which is a small Magna Cut fixed blade. And it has got the sharpest spine. Hold on a second. All right. The begging brown cat's at my door. I'm just grabbing a ferro rod. All right. So this is the LT Wright USA made Magna Cut Frontier First. I bought this knife brand new from River's Edge Cutlery for $95. American made Magna Cut for $95. And that spine is so sharp, you can see the black on it from where I've struck the ferro rod. But I'm going to blow a spark over here. Let me move the shit that might catch on fire. Like Tippy. Tippy's going to walk by and I'll see if I can throw a spark on her. Hold on. Did y'all see that? Give me a yes. Give me a yes if you saw my spark. Here comes another spark. Hold back, Tippy. That one dropped in my lap. Awesome. But yeah, I love a ferro rod and I love a knife that's designed to strike one because it makes it so much easier. Or I like a little tool that's set up to strike it. This little thing, this Exo, not Exo, what's it called? Exotech. It has a tool built into it. Let's see. You push through here, oh, and that little striker comes out, which works, but it doesn't work as good for me as a knife. Yeah, Tippy did say, "Oh shit, I'm out." I hope she didn't get hit by a spark. I don't think she did. Guys, give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna put this up, and I've got to take a handful of food right to the door where the Speg and Cat is, and I will not take the camera. I'm gonna be right back. It won't take me 2 seconds. Wonder where Pocket Metal is. Oh, Brian, I totally agree. But I promise you, Todd Carr, I've started in LJ, Georgia. I've started 2 fires with a ferro rod. It wasn't just with a ferro rod, it was a ferro rod and some of this chopped up and made a little bird nest out of. So I guess I had some accelerants, but I usually use a lighter. Hold on 1 second. Sorry about that, kids. No, I just went and tried to sneak some treats out to the porch for Yellow Cat, and Tippy saw me. And if I could turn the camera around, which I guess I can. Well, no, it'll be dark. You won't have any light on her. She is hard standing out the door. And I made the mistake of not putting them off to the left where she wouldn't be in the view. So Tippy's going back and forth from looking at the strange cat eating her treats and looking back at me. And she don't look happy. Brian, I think that's a great trait. I unfortunately, I don't have like a fire pit in my yard. And the only time I ever really make a fire is when I go camping. And I only go a few times a year with a couple of buddies of mine. And it's more glamping because he's got a cabin. But I always sleep in my hammock. I've got a hammock, jungle nest, hammock tent that I like to sleep in. So I'm not making a lot of fires, but I probably need to go out and just at least get in the habit of doing it. But yeah, great. What is a ferro rod made out of? I guess ferro or something, because it definitely throws some hardcore sparks. And that's one thing you definitely want to have camping is a fucking fire. A Scorpion Evo 3. Magnesium. That might be what it is, Paul. I mean, they seem to last a long time. I mean, I've got the one I just showed y'all. And then I also got this. I buy a lot of EDC shit that I never don't use much, but if I ever needed it, I'd have it type stuff. And this little guy, when I bought it, I bought replacement rods for it. But this is also an Exotech, little titanium one. And it's got a little ferro rod in it. and then it's got, you can take this off, and it's got a little striker if you don't have a knife. But again, where's Tippy? If you've got your LT right, uh-oh. That one had to be worked a little bit. This is a great knife. I think a great value. I don't know much about LT Wright, and they make much bigger ones. This is the Frontier first. The Frontier, I think, is about 3/4 of an inch longer, and then they make full-size knives too. But it's been a good one. Yeah, I've gotten recently on the SIG train, 365 train, and then I picked up a 355 because ammo was killing me. But you ask what I really start fires with? So that's the same maker, Exotac. And what this is it is an airtight Zippo. So you know how Zippos will leach out fluid? This has a gasket, so it doesn't leak out. And I've got a little I've got this little dealie that is full of lighter fluid, more than I'd ever need. So unless it gets stolen by Bigfoot, I should never have to use my ferro rod because I do have a lighter. But I do think they're very cool. Major, they're great, buddy. They really are. I've got I guess you call it an antique. I've got a 232 that I bought from a buddy. I've got it right there, as a matter of fact. The one that looks like the Walther kind of style. I don't think it's made here. I think it was made in Germany, but it's a great little gun. But the 365, I didn't get the X. I just got the regular 365 and really enjoy it. Carries very, very well. It's a heavy little beast, but I do like it. I love, love, love plinking with it. So is anybody on the lookout for a will not keep coming to your calls unless you donate more to local? Knock on wood. I had one kitchen fire when I was married that wasn't even out of hand. It blackened some sheetrock, but it was something I could fix. I didn't even have to call the fire department. My ex wanted to. I love the look of a 1911. Let me see. I don't want to put this on camera, but I'm curious. This one was made in Germany. That's bizarre. So I guess 9mm Kurtz is a short 9mm shell. I don't read German. But it's a very nice little handgun. And I don't know what the date would be when they were made in Germany. got a couple of numbers on it, but I don't know what they mean. I could probably Google it. Y'all don't talk about food. Palmer Conley. It's like 12 minutes before Taco Bell closes. I could not even make it there if I went now. So do not. Okay, Mersalt, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Because I knew that they were the same diameter, right? It's just that the 38 or the 232 is just shorter. Yep, 9 millimeters short. When I was a kid, and I still have it, but I don't shoot it, I had a little bolt action 22 that we'd go squirrel hunting with, and it would shoot the long rifles and it would also shoot the shorts. And then I found at a gun show my dad and I went to CB caps. Have y'all ever seen a CB cap that's like a tiny little 22 round? Dude, I would hunt those in my backyard. I mean, they would just be like, make a little like pop noise. But still, my favorite, I guess you'd call it, and I don't hammer down on animals anymore, but before they discontinued them, I went to Amazon and bought a Benjamin 22 caliber pump air rifle. Those things are badass. Those things are great guns. I had one that I probably got in the early 80s that was a wooden stock one. This one has the same design. It's just polymer. Oh, Mark Parks, like 4 soft tacos, 4 soft shell tacos, a couple of Mexican pizzas, and a bunch of that mild sauce and that new green avocado sauce they've got. I was never real much of a fan on the Glocks either, personally. But I'm not a gun guy. I never have been. I mean, I picked them up for obvious reasons. And I'm still kind of regretting not picking up a longer one. Man, I can't believe our buddy Pocket Metal hadn't made it home. I sure hope he's doing all right. He hadn't popped in chat or anything. Let me see if he's texted me. Uh-oh. I showed y'all that that was Jason texting me. I showed y'all this little guy, didn't I? I want you to listen to this, the way he did the Kydex retention on the jimping. I want you to listen to this when I put it away. Get that little chode. But listen to this. I don't think he was in Portland. Drink water, exactly right. And I forget the maker because I invested in a really nice internal inside the waistband concealment holster that had a couple of wings on it, and I just love it. I don't even know it's there. Paul, that's the same exact one I had, except it was in 22 caliber. And I wish I had the 177. So when I bought the replacement, which now they just sell PCPs, but I bought this one last year off Amazon. It looks just like it, except it's and it shoots just like it. It's just polymers, black. Yeah, I think Pocket Metal and them live in probably one of them, and Stevie too. I think you guys out in Washington State live in one of the most beautiful places in the country, Foshiz. I wish you could see the chamfering on the spine on this knife and the evenness of those plunges. I'm going to do a full review on it. I just unboxed it today. I love these little curved tips. And then it just locks in. Fell off a boat. Mark, it's a great gun. I'd go grab. I don't think YouTube would like me showing it, but the one I got. Let me see if it's still in my purchased items on. Let me go to my orders on Amazon and let's go for the past. Let's go 2023 because that's when I bought it, and I'll show you the one I picked up, which looks just like the one that we all had. Y'all had the 177. I had the 22. And the 22 didn't have the same feet per second. It was a little slower, but it had the thump. I dropped so many squirrels with that thing. I didn't have a scope on it. I just used the iron sights. It was 2024 when I bought it. Let me see. Bear with me, guys. It's not right here. I'm going back to 2024. Yeah, I bought it this far back. By the way, guys, Amazon knows your shopping habits if you shop on Amazon. Where is it? Search all orders. Let me do that. Hold on. Damn it. Here it is. All right, this is the one. And tell me if this doesn't look just like the one y'all had, except it's composite now instead of wood. And Benjamin doesn't make pumps anymore. They discontinued it. So I bought it right before it was discontinued. But like my 22 caliber, this one, I mean, feels identical, except it's polymer. Yeah, well, I've got a stop sign outside, kind of catty corner from my porch. And I've also guys know I shoot slingshots. I got a couple of videos short shooting them, but I used to take my slingshot with steel shot and put dents in that stop sign. So when I first got my Benjamin, I pump it up like 8 times, not 10. And I was shooting and plinking the stop sign. I did it like 8 times and I walked over there and I'd gone through the stop sign. They thump, and I bought different pellets too. So Benjamin had different style pellets. When I was a kid, they all came kind of pre-greased. They had like lubricant on them, Benjamin, but they were only one size or one shape. Now they make them, and some of these I think they call PCPs, the one that use compressed air, shoot 50 caliber pellets. And check out this different ammo they've got. So they got hollow point 177, flat grain, 25 caliber, domed, 177 domed, 22 domed. And then this is one of the compressors. But look at this 357. And these ones these compressors and these compressor powered ones, like this big bore, that's a 357. That's a 457. So that thing plugs up to a compressor and just thumps. So yeah, even the old pumps, you can still get a Crossman pump. And I had one of those when I was a kid. First, I had a Red Ryder Daisy where you could watch the BB go to the target. We'd even shoot those in elementary school, which is wild. We shoot bow and arrows in the gym. We shoot BB guns and have classes. You couldn't do that now. But then I had a Crossman, which shot BBs or 177s. And then I was looking at, because my dad was the one leading the purchase, the Benjamins versus the Beemans. 'Cause Beeman, I don't know if they're in business anymore. They used to make a very similar American-made air rifle. Beeman air rifle. Yep, but that I bet they don't have pumps. Let's see, air rifle type. Yeah, they don't have pumps. But yeah, this was the other big maker, American maker that was the competition at the different sporting goods stores for Benjamin. But it looks like now they're doing the same stuff with. To me, it seems like carrying that compressed air, I guess, even though it gives you a lot more oomph, would be not very practical. 'Cause, like, look at this one. This one's got this little thing that you fill up. You put this either with a bicycle pump or with one of those compressors. You fill it up, and then it's like a big CO2 cartridge. Which is that. Yeah. Anyway, air rifles rock. Yeah, the 50s are insane, dude. And you see, I mean, I don't know how accurate it is, but there's some YouTube channels where people just hunt with air rifles, and they go out on some pretty big game hunts. Because I think you can drop. They drop deer with those larger caliber projectiles. Because I think you've got the same muscle velocity as if you do pushing powder. All my stock might have been a little bit different. And ironically, I've still got my dad still has that rifle in his closet. And what happened is it won't hold air anymore. And I'm sure that there's a gasket that just rotted. I don't know how to get in and replace it, but it'd be interesting to take that thing apart. Ah, the Seneca is a PCP with a built-in pump, kind of like the old Crossman. It's very good to know. Very good to know. Let's see if nope. He hadn't texted the boy. He hadn't let me know what's going on. I hope he's safe. I'm sure he's safe. Usually when they get home, they've got a ton of animals waiting, deer in the yard and all kinds of stuff that they feed. And they feed them. That's true, Snow Trog. You know, when I was a hunter, I guess I was 11, 12, 13. My dad, we didn't reload brass, but we reloaded all of our shotgun shells. We shot a lot of skeet and a lot of dove. So we shoot the AA shells, pick up our holes. And then I had one of those, I forget who was the manufacturer, but it was one of those stations that would go around. You'd pull it down to open up your shell and push the piston, not the piston, push the primer out. And then you'd seed another primer. And then it was set up based on your powder and your shot load. You'd get to the next level and it dropped your powder in, then you'd wad it. It was a trip. But I never loaded brass, but I know that you can get in there and tweak it and try not to blow your muzzle apart. Palmer, I love to have a suppressor. You know, when I first started shooting again, you couldn't get a tax stamp for a long time. And then the range that I shot at told me how they were pushing them through in like 10 days. And the suppressor that I was looking at was 8. And it would have either worked on my 365 and on my 355. It wasn't one of the top of the lines, but my buddy that I shot with had a bunch and they were super low. And the stamp I think was 250, and I just couldn't justify it because I knew I wouldn't shoot in the neighborhood, but I enjoyed shooting it suppressed at the range because it was just so much quieter. But if I had one that was suppressed, I would have taken out that coyote a couple of months ago. Knife eclectic. I always say if you can get it, I guess you can get it before. Do you have it in your possession or is it at your store? Because I think the paperwork. I shouldn't say that. I guess that's the Constitution in me coming out. I'll keep that to myself. And I've heard of people doing oil cans, and there are tons of videos. I mean, you could learn to make anything. I mean, I think 'cause I have no fix it skills, but I fixed a dryer. I fixed I fixed tons of shit. A garage door opener for my mom, got it back on track just from watching a video. Um, what was that system called? A chick I used to date had one of those Rainbird systems and didn't have the manual, and it fucked up. And I was able to fix it. Still with the F forever. Yeah, have you not filed for it yet, Knife? Because I know for a long time they'd leave, it take forever. But yeah, that's what I heard, Snow Trog, that the stamps are turning around for some reason really quick right now. But doesn't that just let the government know that you got it? Which I guess is the price we pay for freedom. I don't know. Out of sight, out of mind, too, dude. Before I got into the knife game, I was so heavy into building my guitar rig, which I've got just pristine, and I don't even look at it. Out of sight, out of mind. Yeah, I probably hadn't played it in 2 years. I played my guitars, but I haven't hooked up to my pedal board or my Blues Deluxe. I've just kind of been doing other stuff. There's only so many hours in the day. Only so many hours in the day. But guys, we are closing in on 3 hours, and I thought Pocket Metal would make it home. I'm trying to give him time to join us. I'm going to go for 3 hours. I'm going to let it go another 13 minutes. And then I'll remind you guys, because I just started it this week. I sent Scott the little deal. And I'm going to start doing a random just for anybody who's around on Tuesday nights at 10:15. It's called Random Sit and Spin, but it's just going to be, I'm going to try to, for Friday Night Flicks, I'm going to try to do show prep where I get news and shit like that and I have stuff to talk about. But the Tuesdays, I'm going to try to make to be more. Take care, Rob. You're not far. We're not far off, brother. Loved your live tonight. Appreciate you. Appreciate your generosity and your friendship, brother. But yeah, Tuesday nights will be more just kind of a hang, talk about anything. And that's why, I feel so limited. And I tried to run a dual monitor off this laptop, and it was just kind of glitching. But if I had, I've done it with my iPad where I've run my chat on my iPad plugged in, and it'll run for like 30 minutes and then shut off. And I've got to touch it back up. So I've got to find a way to be able to multitask, especially if I want to share clips and talk about news and talk about shit that I don't understand, and learn. Make it more of a structured show on Fridays. It won't happen right away. It probably won't happen for a while, but it's a goal. I have gotten into my comments a little more, not as much as I should. I plan on, I've got to do that. I've got to find the time to just dedicate 2 hours a day to getting in the comments. And I think if I could just set my mind that I'm going to start with everything today and move forward and not worry about the ones that I've left. And I always apologize because I see all of them. They all pop up. It's just I'm doing something and I can't go off. Palmer, thank you, brother. Get off to bed, buddy. We're going in 11 minutes. I just was hoping Pocket Metal would stop in and be able to say hey. And where's my cheer? Whoops. Thank you for your support, brother. I do appreciate it. But yeah, guys, we'll break out of here. Everybody can get ready for Tuesday. And then if anybody's around tomorrow night, I'll list it on the community tab. Pocket Metal's got the keys, so he can come join us. Um, we'll be hanging out. We'll do the same thing. Well, it may make it a little different tomorrow night. Maybe I'll come up with something cool to talk about that's, not controversial, but that's I like to talk about things that are interesting just to kind of see what's happening. Um, so maybe we'll do that. And guys, I appreciate each and every one of you. Love it when you come and hang with me. Um, tonight you were coming to hang with Pocket Metal. I know he's sick that he couldn't be here, but all I really ask is please, guys, do look out for your pal to the left, your pal to the right. Look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart. Choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Peace.